your page. To do this, we're going to go to File and make a new document. You guys can watch me first, and then I'll give you time to be able to work on it. So y'all watch what I do so you don't have to keep up. File and make a new document. The size of your book is going to be a 6 by 9. So we're going to do 6 inches wide, 9 inches tall. You do need to turn on facing pages. Remember, facing pages lets you have that book style of layout where it's left and right side. And we want to turn on a primary text frame. This will put a text frame on all of your pages automatically for you. So when we place our text in there, it'll automatically flow and we don't have to keep adding multiple pages to it. The other things for it, stuff like your margins and your bleeds and slug. This is, I'm going to leave it up to you, but I will say this. I'll unlink this. The inside pages and the outside margin do need to be slightly different. It tends to look a little bit better. So in this case, I'll give my outside margin maybe 3/4 of an inch and the inside a little less than 1/2 an inch, and you'll see the difference set up from there. Also, for mine, I'm going to put my page information at the bottom. So I'm going to give it a little bit more of a margin, maybe a full inch at the bottom of my page. When I say OK, I'm not going to worry about bleeds and slugs. Right now, this is what it looks like. And remember, in your pages, when you start adding more onto it, this is what your full page will look like, left and right. So the first thing you need to do is to set up a very simple document for that. Later on, we can go back and I'm going to use the place command. Remember, you've got a text box already placed inside of your document. I have it selected. We'll go to File and Place. And I need to find that text file. In my case, it's on the desktop. Got it selected. And when I hit open, here's what it's going to do. It may take a little bit of time, but eventually it's going to automatically do the overflow text and add the number of pages that are necessary. Check out my pages dialog box now. See what I have? Tons of them. Let's see how many I've got total. 168. So 168 pages, and this is what it all looks like from there. You guys do that right now too. If you look in your pages dialog box, y'all remember the master pages at the top? What do those control? Yeah, the format of the pages that we work with. By default, A is the master that we're working on. So if I want to change up most all of my pages, this is the one that we're going to be working inside of. I'm going to double click the A master and open it up from here. Here are some things just to remind you that you can change up while you're in the A master setting. If you need to change your document's margins, make sure you have the correct page selected. In this case, I've only got my left page, or I could have both of them. Go up to Layout. Here's your document margins. And if I was to change this up, I'll enable my layout as well and say I wanted to have maybe 1.25 on there. And I say OK, it'll update not just the A master, but every single page that I'm working on. Now, what's something that needs to be on every page? Page numbers. Page numbers are really important. Here's how to place those automatic page numbers within your document itself. Y'all look up here. I'm going to make my text box. In my case, I want to put a page number down here. Here's the way I do it. I go ahead and just type out a dummy page number, 99. Tends to work out really well. And I go ahead and format it the way I like. So if I want it to be a little bit larger, let's change up the style of it. Say I want it to be Avenir, and we'll do it in Roman. And I like that particular size and style. Once I get the style that I like, highlight it. You can go to Type, and we're going to insert a special character. In this case, it'll be a marker called the current page number, okay? So whatever page that it's currently on, that will be the page that it is. Check out what it changes to, however. A. Why is it called A? It's on the A master. That's the page that we're on. And of course, I want to do this for my right side page too. So I'm going to make a copy of this. put it over on this side, and maybe I'll change my alignment from here. Other things that you can put on here. Let's say I wanted to do the title on this side down here, so War of the Worlds. Make it a little bit larger. Maybe that'll be on that side, and we'll do H.G. Wells on this side. On that side. When I'm finished, if I go back into my normal pages by double-clicking on them, you can see now that's been placed at the bottom of every page that I have. Pretty cool, pretty snazzy. So, other things that I can play around with when I go back into my master page, if I wanted to add some little embellishments, maybe some lines or picture or text or something else to it. In this case, I'll just add a quick line. This would be the place and time to do that. When I jump back in, it goes on here. Now, some things to notice, it will place it on every page for now. If I don't want it on this first page, let's say I wanted this to be a title page. I don't want to have anything down here. I want it to even start numbering on a different page. We'll cover that in just a second. I need to make a new master page for those kinds of pages. So if I wanted, let's see, we'll go up to here. We'll make a new master. And for this dialog box, B is the master. I could say we'll call this title page. It's not going to be based on anything. We'll keep it the same. We do want it to have 2 pages, so it can have a left and a right. We'll keep everything else. And so this page has no formatting to it. And if I want to apply my title page to page 1, it's simply a matter of dragging it on top of here. You see how it changes to a B, rest remain A, and I can come over here and the formatting for this page is also different. Did I lose anybody on that? So as you start to make the design of your book, if a page style is going to be different from the other pages, you need to make, oh, whoa, what happened? Sorry about that, just lost my. You need to make a new master page for each of those styles. So make one for, let's do one for my chapter title. We'll call this chapter title page. Maybe for my chapter titles, I want the margins to be drastically different. You know, I want 1 inch on all sides or 2 inches on all edges. Ooh, that's way too much. Let's do 1 inch. So my chapters will be nice and centered inside of here as they flow from that. Cool? Okay. I'll give you guys a few minutes. You design out just your basic page. So the next thing, once we get a pages looking the way we want to, again, you can always go back to it. I'm going to revisit mine because I definitely don't like what I have down here. But as soon as we're done with that, start thinking about how to format the body copy. Most of your book is going to be body copy, so that's the first thing that we need to play around with. By default, whenever you float your text into here, it's just going to keep it as the default, in my case, Minion Pro font. Some of the things to consider would be your first line indent. For this one, there is no indentation, and we're later on going to get rid of these double spacings that are on here. So I'm going to just select a random paragraph, just the whole paragraph by itself, and I'm going to format that one paragraph to look the way I want the whole thing to look. To do this, I've opened up my paragraph styles, and I'm also going to open up my paragraph palette. Remember, those are 2 different things. So there's your styles, but there's also your paragraph and character type palettes. There's character, let's do paragraph. Paragraph, there we go. This one will let me, say, do a first line indentation, so I can move that over. And the first line of every paragraph that I do will automatically. You don't have to hit the tab key. Other things to consider are the size of your fonts and the weight of it, including what style you want. I'd say I don't want to do Minion Pro. I want to do something a little bit more modern. By the way, a serifed font tends to read a lot better for large bodies of copy. do Garamond. Yeah, so that's what Garamond looks like. Maybe I can also increase the leading of it just a little bit more. So I can even back out and see how this one paragraph compares. So here's that one to this paragraph. It's a lot more lighter, a lot looser, a little bit easier on the eyes to read. Real simple thing, very, very subtle. But if I like this, I can select my paragraph that I have, go up to your paragraph styles and save that style. One click. Remember, you can double click on this one. That'll bring up my options, and we'll call this the body copy style. It automatically saves all of the font that I used, all my indentions and spacing. And the best part about it is, once I apply it, I'm going to select all, Command A. So that's selected everything in my book. Give it just a second. And I'm going to apply that body copy to all of my text. Once I do that, especially if I've made my font bigger or my leading bigger, it's going to add more pages to it. So now it has 186 pages. If I need to make a change, all I have to do is change my paragraph style. Open it up. Let's say I didn't like that particular indentation. Let's bring it in a little bit more. By bringing this one in, and I will turn off preview since it's going to take forever to format. By bringing it in just a little bit, when I say OK, my entire book automatically updates. I don't have to go through each and every page. So take 5 minutes, give yourself a basic, this for everybody's benefit. As I was scrolling through my book, I can tell where one chapter begins. In my case, I also have books. So here's book 1, chapter 1. Scroll through. I'm looking for chapter 2. Aha, here's chapter 2. Scroll through, chapter 3. There's chapter 3. What I want to do is I want my chapters to begin on its own page. Does that make sense? So I need to put appropriate page breaks where each of my chapters would be. Right now I'm not going to worry about images. I'm just going to worry about putting those page breaks. Other kind of page breaks would be, this would be the information for my title page. Here's the information for my table of contents. Maybe I would also have a page break for just book 1, those kinds of things. So here's how we're going to do that. Place your cursor, of course, right at the beginning of where you want your page to break at. In this case, I want it to break right there. I want to have a new page starting on this one. Go back up to type. We're going to insert a break character. And in this case, you can either do a regular page break, which will force it to the next page, or if I want it to be either on an odd page or an even page, I can force it to break to that particular page. Let's see if I can get it to do for the second one. Where's chapter 2? Okay, so there's chapter 2. Place it right there at the beginning. Do type, insert a break character. And I can either force it to be the next odd page, which will skip over this page. I think. Let's see if it'll... Yep. Nope. Okay. Well, it skipped over and put it on that particular page. But you can tell it to automatically keep going. Let's see if it will do... Yes, it did. Awesome. Let me back up and show you exactly what I did. Uh-oh. So check this out. Even if I add stuff to this side of the page, and paragraph returns, all that, it still keeps it on this page. Watch what happens as I start to fill up this page down here and hit return. Aha. It jumped to not this page, but this page. That's because I chose an odd or an even style of page on here. So the next thing you need to do, put page returns or page breaks where it's appropriate for each of your chapters or section heads for here. More fun with your own styling of your page. I'm going to start off with chapter 1. So in mine says, chapter 1, the eve of war, then it jumps right into here. Here's the fun part. You can do whatever you want. Even though mine just says Roman numeral 1 dash the eve of war, change it up. If I want it to say chapter 1, like that, I can get away with that. It says the same thing, so feel free to do that as well. I can treat this more as a subchapter. Let's turn off my hidden characters so I can see this. But to make it a lot easier about formatting, if I wanted to add a lot more space to the top of this or to move it around, again, I may want to change up one of my page stylings. Rather than hitting return a bunch of times and doing space this way, I'm going to use my paragraph styles to allow me to do this kind of formatting. You'll see why in just a second. So let's get rid of all this spacing too. We'll do chapter 1. We'll let that be nice and big. Let's see. I'll rewrite that too. Chapter uno. Because I want that to be in small caps. I want it to be bold. And I'm going to use space before to actually push it down. Now I'm increasing the space before, but nothing's happening. Should be over an inch. Why isn't that moving? Here's why. I don't have a paragraph return before this. I have a page break before. I actually need to hit return to give me that kind of thing. If that happens, just hit return. Now watch what happens when I try to increase the space. It'll actually move the way the Lord intended. Cool? So I can do that. I can select the eve of war, maybe do that as its own different font. Do Amity Jack. Ooh, that's looking cool. Give it a little bit more space. Maybe some space afterward. Let's see. Push my title. Let's even center that up. Get rid of my first line indentation. Chapter 1, the eve of war. Ooh, let's underline it. Oh, not strike through. Pretty cool. Do whatever you want to for the design. Maybe I want the first character to be a nice drop cap. Remember, you can do drop caps up here. So we'll let it be over there and maybe centered up towards the center of the page as well. Now when I change that up, that's going to be a different paragraph style that I need to set for it. Actually, I need to do a paragraph style for each of these. If I do that, that makes my formatting a whole lot easier. I've got it highlighted, so we'll call this chapter number. By the way, if you didn't know this, especially if you're not working on a keyboard, you can do a shortcut for some of your paragraph styles, and you use your number pad to do this. So if I hit my number pad 1, currently it's already on the side. Well, come on. There it is, command number 1. For there, we'll do OK. We'll do this one for the eve of war. This will be my chapter title. We'll do a keyboard shortcut, command 2. And maybe this will be my first paragraph. We'll do keyboard shortcut, command 3. So there's chapter 1. Chapter page already designed, looking pretty cool, looking good. You play around with it to get the style that you want. But I'm going to go on to chapter 2. Where's chapter 2? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Remember, I need a little paragraph return. I'm going to do chapter 2. Since I've already got my paragraph styles, choose that. Chapter title. Oops, excuse me, chapter number. Choose that. Chapter title. And in this case, actually, I've got an image that's going to go there. I'm going to ignore this for now. And I can do my first paragraph automatically formatted. See how quick that was? Go through each one and it's automatically, and they look the same. It doesn't take me forever. So, chapter 1, chapter 2, titles from here. Here's the last thing I'll show you, and I'll turn the rest of the time over to you to start formatting, is to break your pages into different sections. What I really wanted to do with sections is to start my page numbering on a different page. If I go to the very top, let's look in my Pages panel, you can see my page starts page 1 right here, but that's actually going to be my title page. Page 2 and 3, those are going to be my, my table of contents pages. What I want to do is I want to start page 1 on what is now page 5, right? To do this, I need to turn off page numbering for these other ones and to start it right here. Here's how to do this, and let's make sure I tell you correctly. I'm going to choose page 5. In this case, that's where it's going to be starting. Go up to my options and open up my numbering and section options. And this will bring up this dialog box. Right now, it's going to do start the section at page numbering, in this case, section 1. I want to create a new section from here. And so, let's see, make sure I tell you correctly. Select page numbering, select start numbering, choose page 1. Yeah. Okay, we'll say okay to that. And it didn't change. Hang on, I'm working without a net here. I should have practiced this before I got here. I'm sorry. Instead of automatic, we want to start page numbering at page 1. So right here, page 5 will now start at page 1. When I say okay, it's going to say, hey, there's already numbers on here. You sure you want to do this? We'll say yes. Now check out what I've got. It will put that on that particular side of the page, which is actually okay. But when I go to it from here, or excuse me, it forced it onto the other side. Let's back up and redo it. I had 4 and 5 selected. Choose just page 5. Numbering and sections. Start numbering at page 1. There it is. You can change up what kind of style that you want. We'll say okay to that. Now we got it. Start page number 1 right there. And when I go down to it, here it is. Oh, nope, too far. Go the other way. There we go. Chapter 1, page 1. If I wanted to get rid of all these other pages and page styles, remember I could apply maybe a title page or a chapter page to these other ones that don't need page numbers. Or if I wanted to say have my table of contents be in Roman numerals, I would choose the table of contents page, open up my numbering and section options, and I could change their style, in this case, to there's Roman numerals or lowercase Roman numerals. You can see it'll start numbering it off that way. So you got lots of options to play around for those. The main thing is you want your chapter 1, page 1 to actually start right there. So find where chapter 1 starts and change the numbering and section to start page 1 for that page. Cool? All right, I'm going to turn it back over to y'all. Find and change option to do this. I'll stick my cursor inside the text. Under Edit, you can go to, there it is, Find and Change. Command F is the keyboard shortcut for this one. To do this, we're going to find what and change it to what. Pay attention to what we're searching as well. I could search the entire story, the entire document, or from this point to the end of the story. In our case, we'd really just want to search the entire document itself. Also, you can pay attention to different things to include. Do I want to include my master pages? In this case, it won't really work. We don't have footnotes. Case sensitivity is also an option, but not for what we're doing today. What we want to look for is a double return. If I turned on my invisibles, do y'all remember what invisibles allow you to do? Show?
See the formatting.
Hidden characters? Yeah. Show hidden characters. Check out what I have here. I've literally hit the return key once and then the return key twice in order to come down here. So I've done this. Return key twice. I need to look for that double return, those double paragraph marks. To find that, here's the option that we need to click on, the little @ symbol on the side. These will let you look for specific symbols. And in our case, we want to look for the end of a paragraph. And the symbol for that is a little house top with the P. We want 2 of them. So they double return. Does that make sense? What are we changing it to? Just a single return. So in this case, change it to a single paragraph. Everything else can remain exactly the same. When we do find next, it'll go through, it'll highlight wherever the one is at. We can hit change all. And in my case, it found 946 double returns for everything that we have. I can hit done, and you can see the rest of my text is now looking a lot more like a regular book. Pretty cool. Y'all take just a minute and do that.